Hey guys, welcome to day 244 of the Bible in a Year plan. Today, we will be reading Nehemiah 4 through 6, Revelation 6, and Psalm 98. If you need to read more about this plan, visit the High Quality Gospel website with the link in the description of the episode and the podcast. Please leave a like and follow the podcast to stay up to date with new episodes. Now, let's begin with reading Nehemiah 4. When Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he became furious. He mocked the Jews before his colleagues and the powerful men of Samaria and said, "What are these pathetic Jews doing? Can they restore it by themselves? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they ever finish it? Can they bring these burnt stones back to life from the mounds of rubble?" Then Tobiah the Ammonite, who was beside him, said, "Indeed, even if a fox climbed up what they were building, he would break down their stone wall. Listen, our God, for we are despised. Make their insults return on their own heads, and let them be taken as plunder to a land of captivity. Do not cover their guilt or let their sin be erased from your sight, because they have angered the builders." So we rebuilt the wall until the entire wall had joined together up to half its height, for the people had the will to keep working. When Sanballat, Tobiah, and the Arabs, Ammonites, and Ashdodites heard that the repair to the walls of Jerusalem was progressing and that the gaps were being closed, they became furious. They all plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem and throw it into confusion. So we prayed to our God and stationed a guard because of them day and night. In Judah it was said, "The strength of labor fails, since there is no such much rubble. We will never be able to rebuild the wall." And our enemies said, "They won't realize it until we're among them and can kill them and stop the work." When the Jews who lived nearby arrived, they said to us time and again, "Everywhere you turn, they attack us." So I stationed people behind the lowest sections of the wall at the vulnerable areas. I stationed them by families with their swords, spears, and bows. After I made an inspection, I stood up and said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, "Don't be afraid of them. Remember the great and awe-inspiring Lord and fight for your countrymen, your daughters and your sons, your wives and your homes." When our enemies heard that we knew their scheme and that God had frustrated it, every one of us returned to his own work on the wall. From that day on, half of my men did the work while the other half held spears, shields, bows, and armor. The officers supported all the people of Judah who were rebuilding the wall. The laborers who carried the loads worked with one hand and held a weapon with the other. Each of the builders had his sword strapped around his waist while he was building, and the one who surrounded the trumpet was beside me. Then I said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, "The work is enormous and spread out, and we are separated far from another along the wall. Wherever you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will fight for us." So we continued the work while half of the men were holding spears, from daybreak until the stars came out. At that time I also said to the people, "Let everyone and his servants spend the night inside Jerusalem, so that they can stand guard by night and work by day. And I, my brothers, my servants, and the men of the guard with me, never took off our clothes. Each carried his weapon, even when washing." There was a widespread outcry from the people and their wives against their Jewish countrymen. Some were saying, "We, our sons, and our daughters are numerous. Let us get grain so that we can eat and live." Others were saying, "We are mortgaging our fields, vineyards, and homes to get grain during the famine." Still others were saying, "We have borrowed money to pay the king's tax on our fields and vineyards. We and our children are just like our countrymen and their children. Yet we are subjecting our sons and daughters to slavery. Some of our daughters are already enslaved, but we are powerless because our fields and vineyards belong to others." I became extremely angry when I heard their outcry and these complaints. After seriously considering the matter, I accused the nobles and officials, saying to them, "Each of you is charging his countrymen interest." So I called a large assembly against them and said, "We have done our best to buy back our Jewish countrymen who were sold to foreigners, but now you sell your own countrymen, and we have to buy them back." They remained silent and could not say a word. Then I said, "What you're doing isn't right. Shouldn't you walk in the fear of our God and not invite the reproach of our foreign enemies? Even I, as well as my brothers and servants, have been lending them money and grain. Please let's stop charging this interest. Return their fields, vineyards, olive groves, and houses to them immediately, along with the percentage of the money, grain, new wine, and fresh oil that you've been assessing them." They responded, "We will return these things and require nothing more from them. We will do as you say." So I summoned the priest and made everyone take an oath to do this. I also shook the folds of my robe and said, "May God likewise shake from his house and property everyone who doesn't keep this promise. May he be shaken out and have nothing." The whole assembly said, "Amen," and they praised the Lord. Then the people did as they promised. Furthermore, from the day King Artaxerxes appointed me to be their governor in the land of Judah, from the 20th year until his 32nd year, 12 years, I and my associates never ate from the food allotted to the governor. The governors who preceded me had heavily burdened the people, taking from them food and wine, as well as a pound of silver. Their subordinates also oppressed the people, but because of the fear of God, I didn't do this. Instead, I devoted myself to the construction of this wall, and all my subordinates were gathered there for the work. We didn't buy any land. There were 150 Jews and officials, as well as guests from the surrounding nations at my table. Each day 1 ox, 6 choice sheep, and some fowl were prepared for me. An abundance of all kinds of wine was provided every 10 days. But I didn't demand the food allotted to the governor, because the burden on the people was so heavy. Remember me favorably, my God, for all that I have done for this people. When Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem the Arab, and the rest of our enemies heard that I had rebuilt the wall, and that no gap was left in it, though at the time I had not installed the doors on the city gates, Sanballat and Geshem sent me a message. Come, let's meet together in the villages of the Ono Valley. They were planning to harm me. So I sent messengers to them, saying, I am doing important work and cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and go down to you? 4 times they sent me the same proposal, and I gave them the same reply. Sanballat sent me the same message a 5th time by his aide, who had an open letter in his hand. In it was written, It is reported among the nations, and Geshem agrees that you and the Jews plan to rebel. This is the reason you are building the wall. According to these reports, you are to become their king, and have been set up as the prophets in Jerusalem to proclaim on your behalf. There is a king in Judah. These rumors will be heard by the king. So come, let's confer together. Then I replied to him, There is nothing to these rumors you are spreading. You are inventing them in your own mind, for they were all trying to intimidate us, saying they would drop their hands from their work, and it would never be finished. But now, my God, strengthen my hands. I went to the house of Shemaiah, son of Deliah, son of Mehetabel, who was restricted to his house. He said, Let's meet at the house of God, inside the temple. Let's shut the temple doors, because they're coming to kill you. They're coming to kill you tonight. But I said, Should a man like me run away? How can someone like me enter the temple and live? I will not go. I realized that God had not sent him, because of the prophecy he spoke against me. Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. He was hired so that I would be intimidated to do as he instructed, sin, and get a bad reputation, in order that they could discredit me. My God, remember Tobiah and Sanballat for what they have done, and also the prophetess Noadiah and the other prophets who wanted to intimidate me. The wall was completed in 52 days, and on the 25th day of the month, Elul, when all our enemies heard this, all the surrounding nations were intimidated and lost their confidence, for they realized that this task had been accomplished by our God. During those days, the nobles of Judah sent many letters to Tobiah, and Tobiah's letters came to them, for many in Judah were bound by oath to him, since he was a son-in-law of Shechaniah, son of Erah, and his son Jehohanan had married the daughter of Meshullam, son of Berechiah. These nobles kept mentioning Tobiah's good deeds to me, and they reported my words to him, and Tobiah sent letters to intimidate me. Now we read Revelation 6. Then I saw the Lamb open one of the 7 seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures say with a loud voice like thunder, Come. I looked, and there was a white horse. Its rider held a bow, a crown. He was given to him, and he went out as a conqueror in order to conquer. When he opened the 2nd seal, I heard the 2nd living creature say, Come. Then another horse went out, a fiery red one, and its rider was allowed to take peace from the earth, so that people would slaughter one another, and a large sword was given to him. When he opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd living creature say, Come. And I looked, and there was a black horse. Its rider held a set of scales in his hand. Then I heard something like a voice among the other 4 creatures saying, A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius. But do not harm the oil and the wine. Then when he opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th living creature say, Come. And I looked, and there was a pale green horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following after him. They were given authority over a fourth of the earth, to kill by the sword, by famine, by plague, and by the wild animals of the earth. Then he opened the 5th seal. I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slaughtered because of the word of God and the testimony they had been given. They cried out with a loud voice, Lord, the one who is holy and true, how long until you judge those who live on the earth and avenge our blood? So they were each given a white robe, and they were told to rest a little while longer until the number would be completed of their fellow servants and their brothers and sisters who were going to be killed just as they had been. Then I saw him open the 6th seal. A violent earthquake occurred. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of hair. The entire moon became like blood. The stars of heaven fell to the earth as a fig tree drops its unripe figs when shaken by high wind. The sky was split apart like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved from its place. Then the kings of the earth, the nobles, the generals, the rich, the powerful, and every slave and free person hid in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains. And they had said to the mountains and to the rocks, Fall on us and hide us from the face of the one seated on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, because the great day of their wrath has come, and who is able to stand? Now we read Psalm 98. Sing a new song to the Lord, for he has performed wonders. His right hand and holy arm have won him victory. The Lord has made his victory known. He has revealed his righteousness in the sight of the nations. He has remembered his love and faithfulness to the house of Israel, and all the ends of the earth have seen our God's victory. Let the whole earth shout to the Lord. Be jubilant, shout for joy, and sing. Sing to the Lord with the lyre and melodious song. With trumpets and the blast of the trumpet, shout triumphantly in the presence of the Lord our King. Let the sea and all that fills it, the world and those who live in it, resound. Let the rivers clap their hands. Let the mountains shout together for joy before the Lord. For he is coming to judge the earth. He will judge the world righteously, and the peoples fairly. On day 243, we read of Nehemiah rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, and in Revelation, Christ, the perfect Lamb, is opening the scroll of judgment. Today in Nehemiah, we see Nehemiah and the rest of Jerusalem face various issues that hinder the reconstruction of the city. First, they face enemies who try to stop the great work. The enemies started with simple words. They ridiculed the people and God. They desired to discourage them and slow down the building of the walls. The goal was to make the people stop building themselves. Call the work futile and meaningless, and people will cease to feel meaningful and not want to work away at something that will fail. This was an attack on the minds of the Israelites. So, of course, Nehemiah pursued prayer. Some people felt discouraged, of course, but overall, the people were lifted up by God, and God protected them, even through physical violence. But then they faced a new problem: money. But the issue wasn't that they were lacking money, but that those who were lacking money are facing the result of greed and pride. They desired to receive more money by taking advantage of the less fortunate. To remedy this, Nehemiah did not tax the people and gave them more money to be able to provide for their families while the work continued. Now the enemies have seen this, and they believe Nehemiah is actually the one holding the people and the walls together. So they decide to focus on attacking Nehemiah, hoping that if Nehemiah is gone, then Jerusalem will be unstable and they will be able to be destroyed. This, of course, didn't work, and Nehemiah continued as a successful governor of Jerusalem. The walls were completed in 52 days, a record, all because of the faithfulness of Nehemiah, the leaders, and the people, unified not in everything, but in their desire to complete God's will. They were unified in faithfulness to God, and it allowed them to build tremendous things, to follow God in tremendous ways. In Revelation, we see the opening of 6 of the 7 seals. This is where things become far more symbolic than what we are used to. Now, this does not mean that all things in Revelation at this point are symbolic, and nor does that mean that all symbolic things in Revelation are meaningless and useless to us. Truth is found in symbols all the time, all throughout the Bible even, and we must still be able to pull out the truth from all of these things. In this section, John is describing literal events using dramatic and poetic language. A conqueror rides out and comes in play later on. Then after him, war. Then scarcity and death will come. This all resembles the end of days, where all of these things will take place. death, famine, plague, all of these things will be seen and are currently seen at the end of days. Then we see martyrs who will die during the time of tribulation, given high esteem by God. But there are many others who would die for their faithfulness to Christ. Then we see natural disasters, so powerful, even the rich and powerful will fear God and know where these disasters come from. They are so powerful that even the unbelievers cannot deny the truth. And so the seventh seal is continued later, but today we see many events that will tell of the end of days. Lastly, in Psalm, we see a psalm about singing a song to God for all the glorious things He has done for us. It tells us to sing a song of thanksgiving and love. He must worship God for His faithfulness, even when we fail to be faithful as well. Thank you for joining in the reading and understanding of these chapters, and let us all be vigilant in continuing this reading. Please share, like, follow, or whatever you can do to help us reach more people with the Bible reading. Please also check out the High Quality Gospel website for more information and a couple of store items. Thank you, and keep learning.